Hi, I'm Anna King, and this is Portfolio 4. Making the transition from middle school to high school can be a difficult change. Throughout middle school and before, class was very easy for me. I was never required to study or even work on material learned in class, but then again, why would I? We completed all of our work in class, and majority of our tests were open note or painlessly easy. I took the same carefree, know-it-all attitude to high school with me. Surprisingly, my workload hadn't increased, and the same amount of effort was put into school, just enough to get by. I never studied for tests. I barely remember even reviewing my notes or doing homework. I hadn't learned basic time management or studying skills, which proved to be at my disadvantage when the first grading period came along. I'm accustomed to seeing A's and B's on my report card, so when my mom saw my quarter grades, she wasn't very happy. Up until that point, I had never earned a grade lower than a C, and C's were very rare. But this report card was the main host of C's and a few B's. Promises to spend more time on my grades and less time with my friends started there and wouldn't end until a few years later. By 11th grade, my social life had taken over my entire life. There was no time to study, no time for family. I barely had time for myself, but I thought that was what high school was all about. Going to fun parties, skipping class, hanging out with my friends, just, having a good time. Though I had always planned on going to college, I never really thought about life after high school. Looking back on things, I certainly wish I had. The last quarter of my junior year, I switched high schools and started a new adventure in Rocky River. Coming from a well-known academic school, I was surprised at the noticeable difference in teaching techniques, classwork, and the energy that I was getting from all of my teachers. I felt more motivated to do my work because that's what my peers thrived off of, graduating and going to college, instead of drama and hanging out with guys. Being that my chosen career in the fashion industry has always been my profession of choice, I never thought that my grades would determine whether I'd be accepted into a fashion school, but that was another incorrect assumption I made about high school. Since time machines haven't been successfully invented, there was no way that I could change or fix my hurting GPA, so I just focused on what I could do my senior year. Determined and not stopping, I strived for a perfect straight A year, and I achieved that goal, and I didn't even know it. I hadn't been keeping track of my grades, but I was allowed to skip study hall, which was an honor student privilege, so I knew I was on the correct track. I was informed my hard work was paying off a week before early senior leave, which is also known as our senior project. I received an invite to the annual awards assembly, which is held for those students who have received either honor roll or high honors for an entire academic year. I was beyond proud of how far I had come, from an innocently dumb freshman to a fashion-forward graduating senior. That June, I graduated knowing that any situation I'm placed in is for a reason. Obstacles may come, but they're only placed there for me to get around them.
Alright, my name is Eddie Malcolm, and this is Portfolio 4. My academic success story would probably be when I've never really been good at math at all, and have always really struggled my whole entire life. So I've always done, I never really failed, but I've never done really good at math, so I never really had the confidence that I could do good. So when I came to college, it was the same exact thing, and I just came in to freshman year in college math and thinking that I wouldn't be able to do math here in college, and it would just be the same exact thing really, because I was in a lower math also. So I ended up taking this college math course, and I was doing okay at first, and I was just kind of going along, and it was about the middle of the quarter, and then I started doing pretty bad in it, and my math professor talked to all of us and basically said that she knows that we all could do good and we all could do better than what we were, because a lot of the people had about the same grade. And she said, and she just kept saying things like that, and said that if we need to talk to her, that we can talk to her about anything we wanted, and that I think that really helped me, because I did end up talking to her, and I did feel better after that. And I didn't do I didn't fail the class, and I ended up getting a C, which is I was pretty proud of myself because it was like a low D, and I brought it up to that C. So it just goes to show that if someone believes in you and someone has confidence in you, that you can actually do what you set your mind to, and a lot of that helps. And you just sometimes some things you just can't do on your own, that you need other people there to guide you and to be there for you, and so that's pretty much it.
Hi, I'm Jena Washington. In my junior year of high school, I decided to take a 2-year program called Accounting and Finance, where you learn the basics of accounting, learn how to do transactions, balance sheets, journals, learn a lot about economics and personal finance. So it's a very helpful class, and also I took it to decide whether or not I want to do that for college. When in the class, you have to join this program called BPA, Business Professionals of America, where you go and compete in contests against other students around Central Ohio. It's actually a nationally known program, but a lot of people in Central Ohio do it, like a lot of schools who have the accounting and finance program. Well, my first year, which was my junior year, I didn't really take the contest seriously because I wasn't really interested in it. I liked the class, but I didn't really like the contest. In my senior year, when I started to get really into accounting and really started to like it, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, I took the contest seriously. And you had to do 2 contests, so I chose computerized accounting, which is just inputting journal transactions and journals into the computer and like figuring out numbers. So it's an easier way of doing it. And advanced accounting, where I have to do it by hand and answer a lot of other questions too. At regionals, I placed first in advanced accounting and first in computerized accounting. I was really surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised that I placed first, but in computerized accounting I was, because that wasn't my strong point and I didn't have a lot of practice with that. I just recently learned it. At states, I was expecting to not place because I was confident when I first went into the test at states, because like I had did really well at regionals, so I'm guessing the contest wouldn't be that much different. But when I sat down, I started looking through the test, like there was a lot of material that I had not learned yet and that we wouldn't go over at all that year. So I was confident that I was gonna not do very well. So I wasn't hoping for a lot. But at awards, I was really surprised when I placed 5th, and top 5 got to go to nationals in Anaheim, California, where you would where I got to take a trip to like Disney, got to go see downtown LA, got to go to the beach and stuff, and it was all paid for. The only thing I had paid for was like my food and like stuff like shopping. So it was a really big accomplishment of mine because I wanted to go to nationals, and I didn't really have a lot of self-confidence that I would, but I was really happy when I did, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of.
Hi, I'm Rachel Hill. Back in high school, I was a very careless person. Being a senior, you don't want to do anything. You don't even want to go to school. You just go just because you have to go. So, but I never wanted to do anything. I hated my school, like legit hated it. I hated the building. We didn't have windows. I hated the teachers, all the staff, the principals, everyone. I didn't even like the students that were supposed to be my friends. But it was hard for me to be encouraged to do something, knowing that I have, this is my last year in high school. Like after this, I'm going to be in college. So for me, it's just like I didn't want anything to do with school, homework, or anything in general. My senior year was my worst year academically. I forget what my GPA was, but it was a terrible year. I had a terrible case of senioritis, which I'm sure a lot of us had, but my case was terrible. One experience in high school that I remember was my senior year in physics class. I hate science. I like math more. I hate science. It's my worst subject. But being a senior again, I didn't care about my classes. I only cared about graduating. So knowing that if I were to fail this physics class, I would still graduate no matter what the outcome was. Even if I failed this class or got a D, I'm still going to graduate. I'm still going to go to college. So that was an even bigger reason for why I decided not to do any work. So one day we had an assignment to work in a group project. And for me, I don't like group projects to begin with because you have to depend on everybody. And if one person messes up or doesn't do their part, the whole group has to suffer for it. So knowing me, the group members already knew that I probably wasn't going to do it anyway, and that I probably was just going to let them do all the work and that they'd get a good grade. And me, I could care less because, like I said, I didn't care. Even my physics teacher knew that I wasn't going to do anything. She would crack jokes about how, yeah, Rachel, I'm sure you're not going to do it, but here you go anyway. So I was talking to my counselor, and she was just saying that there was a scholarship for, people that did good in physics if they got recommended by their teachers. Knowing that my teacher didn't like me, I didn't think I'd get recommended, but I decided to give it a try. So when the meeting came around, I did go to the meeting. Everybody was surprised that I went. We got an A on our assignment. And my teacher even gave us extra credit on our assignment. We did the best one in class. She was proud that I even decided to go to the meeting and do the project when I'm known for not caring at all. So I was very proud of myself that I didn't let myself down, that I went for something that I usually wouldn't go for, that I overcame a goal, knowing that deep down inside I didn't think that I was going to do good in physics or with any projects in general. So that's my success story, that I got an A in physics, and that's all.
I'm Ashley, and this is my academic success story. It was sophomore year, and the Ohio graduation test was the most important thing everyone in the 10th grade could think about. If you did not pass this very important test, you couldn't graduate and you couldn't go to college. This was a scary thing for a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds. My high school tried to give each sophomore attention and tutoring on what they felt was their weakest area. For some, it was math. For some, it was reading, English for others, and a lot of science and history. For me, it was all. I was the worst test taker ever, and just thinking about this test made me sick. Every day I went to tutoring for each subject. We studied old tests and did different problems that would help. As weeks went on, I started to slack and did not go to tutoring as often as I should. I got distracted by friends who told me tutoring was lame and the test was easy and the tutoring wouldn't help anyways. A lot of my friends took advice from people who took the test the previous year. They told them it was easy and there was no need to study for that test. On the day of the test, I was nervous and scared. I did not eat breakfast that morning because I was so worried. When I walked in the testing room seat and sat down, everyone looked happy and in a great mood. The test started, and I picked up my pencil and started to write and circle in the bubbled circles. People started to finish and leave. I believe I was the last one done and hesitated to do it. 2 months later, the results were in the mailbox, and I was scared to open them. I handed them to my mother, and she opened it for me. She told me that I passed everything except for science. My heart stopped, and I think it fell to my butt. I was very upset. I thought I had did good on the test. This time, I was going to pass it. I went to tutoring every day at school, and I studied on my own personal time. A few weeks before the test, I studied every day on my own. On the day of the retake test, I was not scared. I felt great about this test, and I was not going to let this defeat me. I was in the best mood, and I was positive and ready. I took my time, and I was the last person done. I reread each question and eliminated the answers that made sense. I turned in my test knowing I passed. When I got my test back, I passed it. I passed science, finally. I was so happy. The situation taught me how to control my feelings and how to deal with the situation so I can determine the outcome. If I had not been positive and had a positive behavior to study, I probably would have never passed.